Randall Crowder from Phunware. So what I like to do is first start off is just give everybody a background of where Phunware came from, where it is today, and where do you think it's going?
Absolutely. So Phunware is a 10-year-old tech company based in Austin. We actually have 4 offices. We're headquartered in Austin, but we also have an office in Miami, San Diego, and Newport Beach. We got our start really thinking about how to create more brand engagement in a mobile ecosystem. So if you go back 10 years ago, really everyone had just figured out web. Less than 5% of internet content was even consumed on mobile. So one of the very first slogans with Phunware was everything you need to succeed on mobile. Our founder, Alan Natowski, thought, let's take brands, let's work with them closely, and let's give them a mobile ecosystem to engage users in what would become probably the most valuable piece of real estate for a brand on the planet, a mobile phone attached to a human being. So we built the first NASCAR app. We built the first NFL app.
Awesome.
If you touch a Fox Media property mobile app, chances are we build it, we still maintain it today.
Nice.
Over time though, to do that well, it's not building just a lighter app, 2 guys in a garage. We're building large, scalable enterprise apps. And so
how many is we?
So right now we have about 200 employees.
Wow.
And
are you allowed to say how much you guys raised?
We've raised over $100 million in private financing prior to going public. So we actually went public on NASDAQ back in December. Thank you.
Yeah,
it was a long road, and I'll tell you why that's important. Because we were the first company to go public with a cryptocurrency, with a digital asset.
Say that one more time.
Yeah, so we were actually the first company to go public while having a cryptocurrency that had been live and launched. And so that's called PhunCoin, and it's actually critical to what we're doing as a platform to help brands engage consumers and reimagine what that engagement looks like and give a lot of control back over to the user. But to really understand why we're doing that, you have to understand kind of where Phunware came from. So when we were building these mobile applications, think about putting that software on all these mobile phones, and think about how many other people kind of jumped on that bandwagon and wanted to build their own applications. So we said, well, hey, we've already developed this incredible repository of digital assets, SDKs, APIs, scripts, and utilities. So we started licensing those out to other people, other game developers, publishers, mobile app shops, and so they started using our software because we were really, really good at it. So now we started seeing all this incredible data coming in. So we see about 1 billion active devices every single month.
I need people to hear that. Say that.
Over the last 10 years, it's really about reaching a large mobile audience all over the world. So one of the very first kind of goals of the company was to create a Phunware ID for every single person on the planet with a mobile device. So far, we've created 2.5 billion Phunware IDs. That's billion with a B. So we see about 1 billion active devices every single month. And what we're doing with that is really giving brands a new way to reach audiences. Along the way, something else we did is when you become an expert in mobile, all things mobile, people start coming to you with all sorts of interesting problem sets. So we actually became one of the best companies in the world at indoor location. So we have an incredibly, and it's growing, patent portfolio on how do you use a mobile phone indoors to pinpoint a specific location to the consumer. So if you think about it, we've done
like in a mall or
absolutely malls, stadiums, anywhere, and we transition effortlessly from outdoors to indoors. A use case we did with a large cruise line that I can't name, but they wanted to introduce like an Uber Eats feature on a cruise. So imagine you're anywhere on the ship. You're just walking around enjoying your trip. You don't have to stand at the bar. You don't have to wait in a restaurant. Order on your phone and a waitress or waiter will find you.
Whoa.
You enjoy your trip. So that's the power of mobile.
I need that when I walk around.
Absolutely, right? Like we've been looking at technology serving us in Hollywood, in movies for 30 years. Yet in your day-to-day life today, technology doesn't serve you. You go to the grocery store, maybe you pass an RF signal to open the door. Maybe you swipe a credit card when you leave. Other than that, nothing. You have so much latent power sitting in the palm of your hand. It knows everything about you. It knows everything that's around you. And we're trying to find a way to serve that information up seamlessly so that brands can get the right message to the right consumer at the right time in the right place. So we marry location tech with everything we know about mobile ecosystems to make that connection be more authentic. And so we generate about 5 terabytes of data every single day.
What?
The thing that people don't realize is that a human being is dynamic. A customer is dynamic. They like different apps. They go to different locations. They, sometimes they want to be on their phone. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes they want to be on certain apps, sometimes they don't.
They always have it.
Exactly. We
always
take
have
a
it.
holistic picture of a consumer across all apps, all locations, all preferences, and we use that and we curate that in what we call a knowledge graph. So we have a graph database that takes disparate data sets from anywhere. It could be a rewards program, it could be location information, voter registration records, it could be a company's internal database, everything they know about their customers, and we curate that and correlate that so that we understand when is the optimal time to try to reach a certain audience segment. And also, how do you know that you're even reaching the right audiences? So much of the current advertising industry is fraudulent. You don't really know what you're getting.
Right.
There's an old quote that I love by John Wanamaker, often called the father of modern advertising. He says, I waste half of my money on advertising. The problem is I don't know which half. That's still a problem today. It's
Absolutely.
a $19 billion a year problem, $51 million a day lost just to ad fraud. So you're not even thinking about the opportunity cost. You've spent money, you've tried to find the right audience member for your brand to engage them, and you have no clue whether or not you reached them. And you have no clue what that customer might have been worth, the one that slipped through the cracks, the one that you were never able to reach. And so we thought, what if we could reimagine the entire conversation? Rather than having these central authorities in the middle managing all of the data, which those are the only games in town, right? I mean, you say it all the time, and you're spot on. The scale of Facebook, I don't think people fully realize just how massive that scale is. But you've forgotten more about engagement online than most people ever learn. And one of the things that you talk about a lot is this kind of movement from celebrity to influencer to micro influencer to nano influencer. And what are you trying to do? You're trying to get somebody in position that can actually have a conversation with the customer that they're willing to listen to. And so we're trying to replicate that using our platform to say, how do we get very critical information into the hands of the brands so that they can identify the right users? And right now, we want to empower users to think about that data as being their own. Every single day, users are generating data. Every time you go online, every time you like something, share something, scroll through something, that data is being collected by someone, and they're selling it. And they're making a killing on that, on all of that data. What we want to do is be able to give that data back over to the user. We want to create a digital asset that represents your digital identity that allows you to control your digital self. So all the things you do that you naturally do, the way you engage with apps, the locations, the restaurants you go to, the movies you watch, that's all creating a digital identity.
Got it.
We want to curate that. And we want to give it back to the source of the data, right? The person who generates all that data, they should control how they share it, when they share it, and if anybody gets compensated for it, they should be cut in on that deal. So PhunCoin is this idea of creating a compliant digital asset that allows someone to take control of their digital identity, and that way when brands are trying to find you, they're going to the source of the data, not a third party. Third parties are still going to exist. We want to play within that ecosystem. But we want to start to transition people's mind to realizing that data is an inalienable human right. Your data is your own. The insidious part of exploitation is that you convince a large number of people that the norm is okay. Don't worry about it. We'll take care of your data. Whether it's Instagram, Facebook, Google, they've made a killing on other people's data. Now they're providing a service, right? All of us love a little dopamine hit every once in a while. But we thought, wouldn't it be interesting if over time brands didn't have to go to a third party who is really using almost data collection through surveillance, and they just went to the source. I'll tell you what I like. I'll tell you what
Absolutely.
I want. Most people understand that their data is being collected. They just never knew that they should be in that conversation. So we want to use the rise of blockchain to create one of the very first mainstream consumer applications, use cases, where people can actually get paid for their data. And they can not only get paid for it, but they can control it. And so when brands are trying to build an audience or reach certain audiences, right now they go to Facebook, they go to Google, because that's the only game in town, and it's quick and easy. You want to get a certain number of impressions, you want to get a certain reach to an audience, you can go to one-stop shopping and you're done. However, they would much rather go to individual data sources, individual people. There's just no mechanism to do that at scale. We want to introduce the world to that mechanism.
So who would you say are your current clients and who is your perfect clients?
we've worked with some of the biggest brands in the world. So when I mentioned that we had raised $100 million, that's from WWE, Samsung, Cisco. We are not a small company.
They invested in you?
And invested in Phunware.
Wow.
And so, that's it. You have to have partners that are equally yoked to what you're doing, that are excited about what you're doing. And they've been world-class partners. They've been channel partners for us. They've advised us. They've sat on the board.
Amazing.
And they open doors. But more importantly, especially when it comes to digital assets, first it was crypto, then it was blockchain. Right. Now it's really becoming just digital assets. It's going through a maturation process. So for us, it's important to have those brands behind us. It's important for people to know that they can trust us. It's important to generate a certain level of credibility with your customers. Because so much of the ICO craze in 2017, it confused the market. There's a lot of scams, a lot of frauds. And you had people who had never even met, kind of masquerading as business owners. And it really, I think, set us back a little bit because now people are cautious. They're like, well, what's this all about? Right. So going public was important for us because we want to be transparent with users. We want to tell them exactly what we're doing. Here's who we are. Here's the team. We have a world-class team that has worked together for a decade. We have engineers all over the country. We have people really working to create something special. Yeah. And I think that's what the next evolution of blockchain or digital assets or whatever you want to call it, that's what's going to be the standard. That's going to be the bar that you have to set is real companies solving real problems. And you got to have the real experience in order to show that you can actually deliver on what you're doing. And so PhunCoin for us is just using blockchain to complement our core business model and deliver capabilities that we couldn't do any other way. So as you think about purchasing data from a user directly or encouraging people to own their own data, there's a lot of transaction volume that happens in that. And so you can't do that with traditional fiat. The wire transfer fees would kill you. Yeah. It doesn't make any sense. And so it's the right technology at the right time. But we're a real business. This isn't, we're not a cryptocurrency business. We're a fully integrated cloud platform for mobile, full stop. We just happen to be leveraging blockchain to do an amazing thing to empower users and give them control back over their data and to ensure that if someone gets compensated for it along the way, they get compensated as well.
So what's next for Phunware and PhunCoin?
Yeah, so we play very well in certain industries. So hospitality is really interesting. The hotel space, anywhere you see a lot of foot traffic, sports teams, stadiums, retail. Imagine being able to engage consumers and bring technology into that day-to-day life. Sure. And so what we end up doing that's very interesting for PhunCoin is it's all built around what's called an SDK. It's a software development kit. We are not asking people to change behavior. We're not asking them to download a new app or download a new browser. We can turn our ecosystem on just with a simple SDK install. So you have an existing mobile application, you want to turn on all kinds of amazing things. Think about an airline, for instance. Airline, you might give your flights, your passengers points for booking an airline, booking a hotel, or using a credit card. But a profitable behavior would be encouraging your passengers to show up on time to the airport. So could you use a cryptocurrency married with location tech to incentivize people to show up on time, to know that they actually arrived at the airport or that they arrived at the terminal or the gate at a certain period of time, and to have that be an effortless compensation for your users? Same thing, you have one of the most, Victory Poker is such an incredible ecosystem worldwide, third largest site in the world. We work with a lot of hotels that have casinos. We can absolutely use our location tech to begin rewarding people with a cryptocurrency, PhunCoin, for just being in the casino, for dwell time, for doing certain activity that the hotel or the casino deem as profitable. Another use case that I always use that I think helps people visualize it. We partnered with IBM for their blockchain accelerator because they were really looking for businesses that were more mature, that could actually introduce real-world solutions this year. And one of the examples I gave there was like a cruise line. So there's a cruise line that we've met with that has a profitable behavior that says, if I can get collateral into the hands of a passenger in the moments leading up to them boarding a ship, they're more likely to buy. So what we decided to do was use our location tech to integrate video into that experience. So take everything that we know about you in the virtual world, introduce it to a real world interaction. So as you park, we know when you're parking, we know as you're walking towards, where you're going to disembark, and we would just give you a push notification that says, for 1,000 PhunCoin, will you watch this, video about all the amazing excursions that are going to be available to you on your trip. And so now instead of looking at a brochure, you're literally watching someone zip line or ride a horse in the ocean. Your kids pulling on your like, please, can we do that?
Right.
Can we do that? Video converts it like 80% higher than anything else. And so now you're introducing almost an infomercial-like capability into a real-world setting. We can do this for retailers. You're walking through a store, you're passing products who have spent millions of dollars on packaging, and that doesn't jump out at you all the time. Sometimes you're busy. If you're like me, you're in there, you're beelining to what you want to get. And so now we can actually interdict that customer journey at the moment where there could be actually a conversion and say, hey, Dan, we know what you like. We know your purchasing history. This is actually in the Minority Report, if anyone's ever seen that. There's literally, personal advertising right there. We're doing that in the real world. So we can stop you and say, for 1,000 PhunCoin, would you, watch this infomercial about this product we think would be perfect for you? And so we want to find ways to take what we know about you in the virtual world and inform your real world interactions so that, again, we can get the right message to the right customer at the right time in the right place. And all of this is controlled by the consumer. You decide what information is collected, what is shared, how long it's shared, and if anybody gets paid for it, you get paid for it. Because that's the way it should be. It's your data.
So we walk up to an elevator, and it's you walking in, and I walk in, and I push the top floor, the doors close. Explain to me Phunware and PhunCoin.
60 seconds with Dan Fleyshman.
Let's go.
All right. Phunware is reimagining how brands engage consumers. We've been around for 10 years. We see 1 billion active devices every single month. We've created 2.5 billion Phunware IDs that represent human beings attached to a mobile device. We generate 5 terabytes of data every single day. We've generated over a petabyte of data in our existence. We're taking everything that we know about our users, and we want to give that information, that power, back over to them. How are we going to do that? We've created a decentralized data exchange that will allow users to take control of their digital identity. We have a digital asset called PhunCoin that will allow you to manage everything that we know about you, so that when brands want to engage you, rather than going to an intermediary, a central authority, we can absolutely enable them to go directly to the source of that data. You decide what you share, when you share it, how long you want to share it for, and if anybody gets compensated for it, you do as well.
So why does Phunware matter to them?
That's a great question. I think people don't realize that everything they do online, every time you like something, every time you share something, every time you scroll through something, you're generating data. And there's these very large companies, I think we all know who they are, that are exploiting that data. And the insidious nature about exploitation is the powers that be convince the people watching this video that they should just shut up. That's just the way it is. We own your data. We're going to sell it. We're all going to be rich. We're going to vacation in the Maldives. But at the end of the day, it's your data. Why wouldn't you be compensated for it? Why can't you even control it? This is happening. GDPR was launched. This idea of data as an inalienable human right. This idea that you should be able to control your digital self. It's actually, you're seeing it in government right now. There's a lot of legislation talking about your rights to your own data, regardless of where it's collected. We want to give people a new platform to take control over that data, to end the insidious nature of data through exploitation and surveillance. I mean, look, there's people putting microphones in thermostats and then pretending like it was an oops. That's not right. We want to be totally transparent. We want to be totally open about how we collect our data, what we collect, and we want to give it to the user. That's when we talk about this idea of a decentralized data exchange. This idea that you can control your digital self on your phone, and you tell us what you want to share. You tell us how long you want to share it for. And if we make money off it, we're cutting you in on the deal.
We are now in a mobile-first world and quickly becoming mobile-only. Want to future-proof your business with a mobile strategy? At Phunware, we're ready when you are.